This video will be a pretty straightforward comparison of photos taken with two digital cameras and two smartphones. What prompted me to make this video was trying to decide if I needed to carry a separate point-and-shoot camera for events and outings where I knew I'd be taking pictures, or if a smartphone was sufficient. The cameras that I'll be using will be a Canon ELPH300, which is a point-and-shoot that runs about $180, and you can find them on sale at times for $130. I'll also be using a Canon T4i, which is a digital SLR. The SLR obviously isn't as portable, but I wanted to use it as a baseline for really good photos in this test. The smartphones I'll use will be an iPhone 4S and a Motorola Moto X. I really like Android phones, especially the Moto X, for things like their seamless integration with Google services, the notifications, and customization. However, the one area that I think iPhones still lead in a lot of cases is the camera. Now for these photos, I left everything in automatic mode to simulate pulling the camera or phone out of your pocket and snapping a photo. I did force or suppress the flash in some instances. Now obviously with the digital SLRs and even the point and shoot, a sophisticated user could tweak the settings to possibly take better photos than the ones shown here. Settings like white balance, aperture, and shutter speed can be utilized on dedicated digital cameras. But for this test, I wanted to use only the automatic settings to keep a level playing field. This first set of pictures, I let the cameras or the phones decide if it wanted to use the flash. The ELPH300, which is the point and shoot, did use the flash, as did the T4i. I actually thought the color representation on the point and shoot were a little bit more accurate than the T4i. The T4i colors were just a little bit more warm than true on the photo. The iPhone 4S did not use the flash, neither did the Moto X. And the Moto X here looks really washed out. The next set of photos, I did force the flash on the phones. The cameras used the flash. I thought the point and shoot did really well. The T4i, the digital SLR, the colors are a tad more accurate, but both of those I thought took pretty good pictures. The iPhone 4S colors are a little dark, and the colors are not quite as true. In the Moto X, the colors aren't bad, but the shot was underexposed. Now I did the same scene, but I suppressed the flash. And so the point and shoot did not do as well as the digital SLR in this case. And the colors look really good on the T4i there. The iPhone did well. In fact, I think the iPhone in that one did a little bit better than the point and shoot. In the Motorola Moto X, the colors are washed out and it's a tad underexposed. In this scene, I did not use the flash. I thought the point and shoot did really well here, and the digital SLR clearly won with color accuracy. The iPhone 4S definitely not as good as the point and shoot in this scene. And then the Moto X underexposed and washed out in this scene. Now we move outdoors. And the first round of pictures, I think all the cameras took good photos. It's really hard to pick a winner between these photos. The point and shoot and digital SLR, the colors are almost identical. The iPhone 4S, it looks good. And surprisingly, the Moto X did good. So obviously the Moto X needs outdoor lighting to take a pretty decent photo. You can, from time to time, take a decent photo indoors with the Moto X, but it's hard. In this scene, it was cloudy out. The point and shoot, actually, I think the point and shoot took the best picture in these rounds. The T4i, I actually had to suppress the flash on the T4i. I wanted to use the flash, so I suppressed it to keep everything even. The colors here on the iPhone look a little washed out, as do the Moto X. So I'm going to give that round actually to the point and shoot. Another outdoor scene here, and all the cameras took a good picture in this scene. The colors look great here on the point and shoot. With the digital SLR, there's a little bit more shadows that you can see, but the colors are a little bit more accurate. The iPhone 4 colors here are pretty warm, maybe a little bit more warm than what's natural for that photo. The Moto X is not bad. It's a little hazy up at the top there, a little washed out in some sections on that photo. And now some photos outdoors with some shade. And again here, the point and shoot did a great job. And it's a tough call between that and the T4i. You can see the T4i used a lower aperture with a shallow depth of field. And then the iPhone 4S did okay. It's not great. And the Moto X did a pretty decent job. I think it would be tough to pick a winner between the two smartphones in that case, but I think the point and shoot probably took the best picture there. All of the cameras did a good job here with this macro shot. The colors look good here. You can see the shallow depth of field with the T4i, but like I've said before, you can adjust that if you need to. You can tweak it out of the automatic. The iPhone 4S looks good, and the Moto X looks really good here. The colors look pretty warm, but I think this is a good photo with the Moto X. The colors are maybe a little bit more warm there than what's natural, but not bad. Some action shots here. The point and shoot, I think, did a pretty good job. The T4i here used a slower shutter speed, but again, you can speed up the shutter speed if you take it out of automatic mode to really capture the action. So there's a ton you can do with digital SLRs. And the iPhone 4S, did pretty good. Not quite as good as the point and shoot. And the Motorola Moto X, I think, did a good job. It was a little bit harder to time this photo with a Moto X, but I think it took a pretty good photo. And now the final round here, some indoor really low light where all of them use the flash in the automatic mode. The Canon point and shoot did great. For some reason the digital SLR wasn't that great here, but again, you can adjust the white balance manually if you didn't get a good photo with the SLR. iPhone 4S, not bad. Not as good as the point and shoot, but not too bad. The point and shoot obviously has a really good flash on it. The Moto X is not as bad as the other indoor photos at the beginning of this, but not too bad. So to wrap this up, I think overall the digital SLR is going to take the best photo. I mean, that's not a surprise there. The point and shoot is really not that far behind the digital SLR. The iPhone 4S, would be third here, and then in a probably far distance would be the Moto X. So that will wrap it up. Again, pretty basic, pretty straightforward, but hopefully this will be helpful to some of you out there who may be deciding on what kind of camera to get, what kind of phone to get, or if you need to have a smartphone and a point and shoot. I think if you're an iPhone user and you just simply pull the phone out of your pocket and take a picture, you're going to be pretty happy with your pictures, especially if you don't need a flash. I do think you can get a better photo with a point and shoot, especially if you tweak the settings. But again, for a real basic user, I think the iPhones are pretty good. If you're an Android user, there are some Android phones that have some pretty decent cameras. Unfortunately, I think the Moto X is not one of them. So I'm really looking forward to the day that Motorola puts a good camera in their phone, because I think that would just push that phone over the top. So again, I hope this was helpful for you, and thanks for watching.